Good evening, everybody. My name is Graham Smith. I'm still the relatively new leader for Hico. Thank you for joining in what is our first Bull Night. This is an experiment for Hico. It's very much part of us wanting to engage more effectively with particularly our farmers, but also our industry partners, because one of our key objectives is to ensure that we provide you, that we can facilitate ensuring that you have good information, hopefully to make better decisions with regards to your business, both today and into the future. In a moment, I'm going to outline just the format for the evening, but firstly, just a couple of housekeeping issues. For those that aren't speaking, can you please just ensure that you're on mute? Even for people that are experienced with regards to virtual meetings, it's something that we can all fail to do at times. You'll find as we go through tonight that the only people that are really on the screen are those that are presenting, and I'll be introducing those presenters shortly. The other thing that we're going to do is we are going to record this evening. From a privacy point of view, don't be concerned. As I said, it's only the speakers that are actually on the screen that are being recorded. And then post tonight, we're going to edit the proceedings and use it as part of our ongoing engagement with customers. As said, tonight is the first of a series of Bull evenings that we're running over the next 3 weeks. And so the format is that over about an hour, we have two Bull companies talking very much about themselves and also some of the products that they're keen to ensure that we are very much well aware of, particularly as we go into spring. And so shortly I'll be introducing Anthony Shelley, who is the Chief Executive of Genetics Australia. Anthony and his team will talk for about 30 minutes. And then after that, we'll have, or as part of that, we'll have a few minutes, ideally for questions and some commentary. So part of the Hico team, Jared Callahan, who is on screen at the moment, is monitoring the online chat. And so Jared will summarise some of the questions and help with that over the last five to 7 minutes. We also have Hico team members, particularly David Gorst, who is handling all of our online administration tonight. We'll also have Hico staff, some Hico staff tuning in, as well as Hico board members. And so we've actually got a really nice representation of farmers, industry representatives, and also Hico staff. Towards the end of the 1 hour, given that by then we would have had a presentation from both Genetics Australia and also followed by ABS, I'll tell you what we're going to do post tonight, and also there'll be an 1800 number that we'll give out, and ideally we'll put up on the screen as well, so that for those of you that would like to talk to Hico tomorrow and beyond, you'll be able to do that. As also said, we will be cutting and dicing the video, and we'll be putting that onto social media and onto YouTube and a range of other things. So if you have people that post tonight, if you like what you've heard and you would like others to view it, we'll have that opportunity as well. So anyway, without further ado, I'd like to introduce Anthony. Anthony and his team is going to give a snapshot of what Genetics Australia is doing and some of the things that they're planning, particularly through spring. That will go for about 22-23 minutes, and hopefully leave a little bit of time for a Q&A. So Anthony, thanks again, and over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Graham. Yeah, I guess first of all, I'd just like to acknowledge Hico for the initiative in putting the virtual Bull Night event on. I think it's a great opportunity for us to disperse hopefully some fresh and rewarding information and pass on some knowledge to not just Hico customers, but the broader dairying community. So thanks for that opportunity. I'm going to spend the first few minutes just giving a very quick snapshot of what Genetics Australia has been up to in the last little while, and then I'll introduce Jared Brislin to talk a little bit more about some of the products and services that Genetics Australia have available. I'm sure many of you have heard some of the news of Genetics Australia in the recent sort of 12 to 8 months, but in December last year we announced a really significant step change to the Genetics Australia business, and it was the acquisition of the Total Livestock Genetics business based out of Camperdown in southwestern Victoria. That acquisition has made, or has, I guess, has led to significant changes in the way that Genetics Australia operates and the way it has operated in the past. And those key changes include the transition of our entire bull herd under the management of the Total Livestock Genetics staff, and all of our semen assets and semen distribution also located out of southwestern Victoria. The change was one that had been a part of our strategic vision for quite some time. And when I say strategic vision, it wasn't just about TLG. It was a vision around how can we actually create a more efficient production model for our Australian industry and Australian farmers. So as of January this year, we actually took over the operation of the TLG business, and in the preceding 2 to 3 months, we gradually moved across all of our semen and bull assets to southwestern Victoria. In the recent 10 to 12 weeks, we subsequently announced the sale of our property at Bacchus Marsh. That's the Parwan Park property, which had previously been our main collection facility. And as I shared with Graham just prior to coming onto our call, we have physically moved offices in the last sort of 24, 48 hours, and I'm sitting here tonight in our new offices, which is a temporary location in Bacchus Marsh. How's the change going for us? To date, it's going absolutely fantastic. We're privileged to be working with a really, knowledgeable and dedicated staffing group based out of Camperdown. Our semen production has continued to move along quite positively, and our semen distribution, is also going particularly well. So to this point, we're really confident in the decisions that we've made around what the business shape and what it looks like into the future. I think it's important though to just reflect on where we came from at the start of this. It was 1958 when the cooperative was formed, and it was formed with a really key, I guess, ethos or mission, and that was very much around providing improved herd improvement and genetics to support, family farms and their surrounding communities and districts. That's still a really key part of what we believe we represent today. The words may have changed slightly, but we're still extremely dedicated to continuing to produce Australian genetics for Australian conditions to suit the needs of Australian farmers, and a really strong key point about how we develop that into the future. I want to take the opportunity now to introduce Gerard Brislin. Gerard's a senior team member at Genetics Australia. He's from a family farm in South Gippsland, and he's been a part of the Genetics Australia team for the past 18 years. Gerard's our regional sales manager for both Tasmania and Gippsland, and he more recently has taken on a senior role as a part of our breeding team, which Gerard might make a couple of comments on as he goes through his presentation. With the essence of only having a short amount of time, we're not going to attempt to give you a blow-by-blow of all of the individual bulls that Genetics Australia has in its portfolio, but Gerard's going to give you a little bit of an insight into the products and services that Genetics Australia has that are available to you as farmers. So thank you for your time, and I'll hand over to Gerard to work into that. Thanks, Gerard.
Yeah, thanks, Anthony. I guess most of you have probably come online tonight to listen to some different, conversations and thoughts and on some of our products and the likes, and we'll get to that. I think one of the things that's really important to me, and as Anthony said, been across the industry for nearly 30 years now and 18 years with Genetics Australia, I think, most people sort of say, we sit down at the customer table and say, who's your best bull? I need to be using your best bull. And I guess my question is, what are your breeding goals? What are you looking for in that particular space? So I think it's really important to, particularly in the past, probably 5 or 6 or 7 years to understand, your breeding goals and the likes. But I think more recently we've probably taken the approach of also probably building on that and also looking at your breeding plan. And I think things have changed, in our industry, product development and the likes is, probably changed a few different thinkings in that particular space. So, it's important to put a plan in place. And I guess, when we go back to looking at different breeding goals, we're all a little different. But for an example there, early in the week, I was at a customer and they said, look, I want high genetic merit bulls. I want to improve fertility. My Holstein cows are getting a little too big. I'd like to take a little bit of frame out of those particular cows. And I also want to increase the numbers that I'm actually growing in my particular herd. So the plan around that, you need to put a plan around that to better understand the outcome and work towards the outcome and your goals. And, part of that is the introduction of sorted semen, or better known in the industry as sex semen. And that's played a really big role, in the last probably 5 or 6 or 7 years. And it's probably been a bit of a game changer. For some people looking to grow numbers. We talk about, high genetic merit and the likes. There's opportunities around, genomic testing today. And Anthony made a mention there about some of the services that are being offered through our sister organisation in TLGV. And that's one of the services that we are offering through that particular business. So, I guess in recent years, the introduction of fresh sorted semen or fresh sex semen, it's growing all the time. Genetics Australia are, pretty much through, 45 weeks of the year, we've got, fresh programs lined up in mostly through Victorian states, but also into parts of New South Wales. And, that's a part of the business or the product that is really growing in that particular space. It's convenient to use, particularly around that fresh component, and obviously got some improvements around conception and things like that. So that's an area that is really growing in our business, and really takes some managing in a sense, because as I said, the uptake on sorted semen or sex semen is going to continue to grow. I mentioned the genomic testing. Genetics Australia has a large range of merchandise products. I'll make reference to those of you that would have received our catalogue in the last couple of weeks. Has a portfolio of merchandise products as well as genetic products, and we think it's really important that we're recognised and able to supply the market through the likes of Hico as a service provider with our merchandise products. Part of the breeding plan, for some people is smart collars, the new technology in that space. We're in that particular field. We've got a collar that, is really popular in the market and growing with popularity. It's been developed in Ireland, and, we continue to field calls and inquiry about that particular product. The introduction of beef has played a really big role in recent years, alongside of probably sorted semen or sex semen, in terms of, getting those replacement heifers as early as you can, and then finishing off with short gestation, bulls, whether they be, even Holstein bulls. In a sense, now we have the gestation length. ABVs become really important in that particular space. But I guess part of our Beef X program that we've developed over the last few years, we are going out, Genetics Australia is going out buying bulls for a particular purpose, for a purpose that actually meets the needs of, dairy farmers for those particular traits, such as, low birth weight, gestation length, fertility and things like that, which is really important to, as part of, programs and breeding plans sort of moving forward. So we have a range of Angus and Hereford, Speckled Park and Charolais bulls in that particular market. So, that's an area that, we continue to sort of see grow, in that particular space. So, as I said, it's about having a breeding goal. It's actually about putting that into place through a breeding plan, and incorporating some of those particular technologies. I guess we get onto the bull side of things. We've got on page 6 and 7 of our new catalogue that's actually just been released. We've got a premium offer of 6 Holstein bulls. People sort of say, are they your best 6 bulls? Should we just be looking at those particular bulls? I think we've got some tremendous bulls through our particular catalogue. We've got a large range of bulls. We've got a lot of diversity, whether that be through breeds or different opportunities and different goals, I guess, in a sense. Every bull sort of offers something a little bit differently. There's 2 pole bulls amongst that first 6 premium bulls. We have a bull like, Katami, Cardew, Laston, Toronto P, Singular, Hermes. They're all bulls that complement each other, and I do tend to think they are in the better end of our bulls. But we do select that particular group of bulls to put to the market, for different traits that complement each other. We've got a couple of bulls there that are pole bulls, as I mentioned before. They're the sort of, I think that's the way that the conversations are going at a farm level in some cases, and I think that'll continue to grow. Our cross genetics is important, and we're receiving that. I take a bull like Hermes, for instance. He's a bull that comes out of the US, and we have a distribution arrangement with a few different companies around the world coming out of Italy, and bulls coming out of Italy and Canada and the US. And Hermes is part of our Jetstream portfolio, and has been a very popular bull for us, in the last 18 months, I'm going to say. But, we look at proven bulls, daughter proven bulls. We've got, all bulls are proven today. We've got genomically proven bulls, and we've got daughter proven bulls. And you look at a bull like Singular, who's part of that premium offer, now got a number of daughters coming into his proof, which is, really important for those that are sort of looking for that little bit more stability and reliability in a proof. You take for those of you that are looking at the catalogue there on page 7, the 3 bulls down the right-hand side in Hermes, Singular, and Toronto, all carving these bulls, all better than 104. A bull like Toronto P has been extremely popular through our fresh program, our gender sorted fresh program this particular year in the last 12 months, and will continue to be. We've got a number of fresh days organised for him for Gippsland Farms that we're working with over the next few weeks. And I will actually say that, if you are sort of haven't had any experience in that fresh sex market, and your neighbour might have, in a sense, we can have a chat about some of that. But most of our dates are books that are pretty much solid through to the spring now. But there are opportunities amongst that as well that we can probably work with and accommodate. So. That's the group of what we class as our premium offer bulls. They're priced up to $32 on an RAP level, and you take buy a combination or a particular bull of 100 units and pay $23. So we think it's pretty good value for farmers, and as I said, offers a bit of diversity and the likes, and is really important in that space. We've also got another offer there that, with our, what we call our prime bulls. And, again, just the diversity around that. There's a bull like Montana in that particular group, a bull like Silverline, 2 bulls that have actually got daughter proofs and quite solid in their proofs that are available through that particular offering. As I said, those 2 bulls continue to be popular bulls in the market. There's a pole bull amongst that particular group called South Pole. There's two pole bulls actually. There's a Geronimo son called Domination. So those are the sorts of bulls that again fit a market. Those bulls are $19.50 for 100 units as a combination or a particular bull. And again, we look at a bull like Wi-Fi, and Anthony mentioned about our breeding program moving forward and how we're looking to continue to develop that in a way. I go back to a bull like Hindley Wi-Fi, a bull that come through our Eureka program, or basically started in Australia through our the Genetics Australia Eureka program some 25 years ago. And the cow that was sold in the Eureka sale here from a group of imported embryos from Holland that the business put together is still being represented in some of our bulls, our young bulls coming through. I think that's tremendous depth in terms of breeding and pedigree. So on the Jersey side, we're very pleased with where we sit, obviously, in the Jersey sense. We have Dugan, who's now got daughter-proven. He's a daughter-proven bull and the #1 daughter-proven bull and BPI bull within the breed after the August summary. We've got a young bull called Pickle, Wallisdale Pickle, we're excited about, just starting to make some semen now. He's the #1 bull in the breed for HWI, the health-weighted index that we have in our industry, and quite a range of bulls. Another bull like Invincible, who's actually been very popular, now got daughter-proven numbers. He's adding reliability. Bulls that we're obviously putting into the market from a demand point of view. As I mentioned before, we have a large portfolio, and as Anthony said, we ain't going to go through the whole lot tonight, but we're really pleased to acquire a new Red Bull. There's actually the #1 standing Red Bull in a bull called ARB Primestad, Onstad son, that is now in the Genetics Australia stable. So I think it's it's a strong team of bulls, and I just encourage you to have a look through the offering. And I think I'll leave it there, Graham. So and once again, thank Hico for the opportunity to present that small offering.
Thank you, Jared. I certainly learned something through both what you and Anthony have said, and that's really the purpose of tonight, is really to, as said at the very beginning, to provide not only farmers but also industry representatives with additional information. It is a bit of a snapshot, but we will follow up with some additional GA information that we'll send out tomorrow, and also, as said at the beginning of the session today, if we get some feedback where people would like to go into more detail with both ourselves and GA, we will organise an additional session in the next week or two. So, as said before, it's now an opportunity to ask some questions or have a look at some online comments. So let me take, given that we've got 5 minutes left or thereabouts, let me just ask. I'll get the ball rolling and ask a question. Jared, obviously sex semen is an increasing trend throughout the industry, but with regards to this coming season, are there any other traits that GA is, without giving away any confidential information, but are there any other traits that you're seeing, or is there anything else that you think farmers, when they're thinking about their genetic selection for this year, should be thinking about?
Oh, Graham, I guess it's probably a little bit personal from a I guess each representative, and we probably share some different thoughts amongst our team internally from a sales group, and we had a little conversation about this morning. But I think there's no doubt moving forward that the likes of the traits that are included in the health weighted index are going to play a bit more of a role moving forward. There's a little less production through that index. It's not an economical index, or an economic index. The BPI, the Balanced Performance Index, is the economic dollar-driven index. But I guess from a moving forward with some added focus and attention to health traits. We've seen it abroad with some of the Zoetis health traits and the likes that are sort of coming in. With different organisations and different proofs offshore. I'm sure we're going to continue to see some focus in that particular area. And as I said, not everyone, probably agrees with that as strongly as what I do. But I like to go down the BPI list and start at the top of the list and work my way down. And, a bull to me that actually catches my eye is probably a bull that sits a little higher for health weighted index than BPI. I mean, I don't go down the list sort of looking at the highest BPI bull and selecting a bull that's not so much inferior, but lower down the list for BPI. So my sort order is probably BPI, and then starting to focus a little on health-weighted traits.
Graham and Jared, Anthony, and also I guess from ABS. So one question that has come through is the one around the polled trait. Is the polled trait becoming more of a priority? Jared, do you want to talk to that firstly?
Yeah, I think, again, it's just a personal opinion. I think I think what we probably are seeing is that the focus towards the homozygous polled bulls. So, in other words, they're the bulls that will actually, each progeny that's actually born will actually be polled. So, for example, everyone knows an Angus bull is all your Angus calves are polled. the breed as such completely is actually homozygous polled. And what we're seeing with some of our Holstein bulls is that, I guess, you know, those that are sort of looking for that particular trait are really focused on the homozygous side of things and not necessarily the single P or the heterozygous component. With a heterozygous bull and bull that carries the single P, he's only half his progeny will be born polled, the other half will be born horned. So you've got a difference and a variation there. And I think for those that are looking to go down that particular poll track, I think they are really probably focused on the double P or the homozygous bulls as such.
Marcus, would you like to have a comment? I'll invite Marcus, and then Anthony will come to you, and then perhaps Graham, you might like to introduce the ABS team.
Then we'll start to do a wrap up and go from there.
That's right. There's definitely a movement towards homozygous polled bulls. For those people that are looking to the future for a sustainable and a social license going forward, there's no two ways about it. If you're looking to the future and want to supply domestic milk, it's definitely something that farmers should look at going forward. And it is a growing market. There's a lot of farmers that are going all polled bulls, and that's the only thing they choose from. I know from our product development team over in America that there's a lot more of these double P bulls being produced, and they're at the pointy end on the net merit and the TPI level with ABS's program going forward, which is de novo. So that's a good question about the polled, and yeah, it is a growing market for ABS in Australia, that's for sure.
Yeah. Okay, thanks, Marcus. We've got time for one more question. I know Jared's had a couple more come in, so it'll save me having to ask another question. So, sure. Jared, time for, particularly for GA, one additional question, and then we'll start to do a wrap up and get ready for Marcus and ABS.
Lovely. One question that has intrigued me, which is, why was Super Dave taken off the Good Bulls app? This is, as somebody who's not actually in the industry as such, I'm intrigued as to who or what Super Dave is. So perhaps somebody can fill me in on that.
Yeah, I'll take that one if I can, Jared. Super Dave's a bull to start with. He's a Holstein sire, the part of the Genetic Australia catalogue. Super Dave's actually had some daughters come into his August breeding value that were categorically not his daughters. He had 11 daughters added. It basically meant that it wasn't feasibly possible for those daughters to be daughters of Super Dave based on age of the daughters and age of the bull. It was too late for us to rectify the situation, so we actually restricted the bull so that he wasn't displayed in the August Good Bulls Guide, and within our catalogue we've actually released his April data. The bull did move, and I'm happy to share, the bull moved quite significantly based on that, and we just felt that categorically we weren't representing the bull correctly with that information, so that's why we restricted the bull.
Great, thank you, Anthony, and we're very much on time. So what I'd like to do is say just quickly a couple of things. Firstly, a big thank you to Anthony and Jared and all of the GA team for giving up some of their after hours time to come and talk to us tonight. As I said earlier, this is all about helping facilitate some different channels, and so that our farmers and industry have access to more information to ensure that ultimately they make better decisions. So this is the start of a process. With additional questions that are coming in, we won't be able to answer them all at the moment, but we will take those questions on notice, and over the next few days I'll be talking to Anthony and also ABS, and we will look to answer as many questions that we can tonight offline, and get those comments and get those answers back to people, and we can with the marvels of technology, we can do that a lot easier than perhaps we could have in the past. Before we go on, as I said earlier, from now on, there is an 1800 number that Dave in a moment is going to flash up on the screen that people will be able to phone tonight with regards to Hico and also tomorrow. So in closing, and as Anthony and Jared are aware, feel free to stay on. Thanks again, and we look forward to doing this again. So there's the number, 1800 444 266. So 1800 444 266, and we will. So that's the Hico 1800 number if you'd like to talk to one of our sales representatives, and they are available now. So we'll flash that up again. So as said before, Marcus Rees is the general manager of ABS. GA is whetted the appetite, as we keep emphasising. These are information nights. They're really little snapshots to whet the appetite and get you thinking about the coming season. Obviously, most of you've already done that, and many have already made your decisions. But for those that haven't, hopefully these sessions are valuable. And before we finish tonight, I'll give you a quick update on what we're going to do in the next 2 weeks. So without further ado, Marcus, thank you again for joining us, and look forward to you giving us some insights over the next 15 to 25 minutes.
Oh, well, I hope I can bring something insightful, Graham, or else I wouldn't be the general manager, I guess. I'd also like to thank Hico for doing this initiative. It's a nice, brave move. It, as GA said, it is the future kind of thing, how we're going to do business. On this call, we're also going to have Alan Blum, who's a representative of ABS in Gippsland. And for those that don't know, our other two prestigious colleagues in Rebecca Phelan down in Maffra, and good old Brian Embom, who's just had a birthday. I won't give his birthday age out, but we'll keep that a secret for Brian to tell his customers. So, so to start us all off, I'm going to talk for a little bit. I'm going to talk a little bit with where ABS is heading in the next 3 to 5 years, and some of the challenges that we see farmers facing in that time. And then Alan will come in and talk about the bulls and some of our product, and that will be our night. So what does ABS stand for? We're purposefully, we are about making profit for dairy farmers and having the right genetics for dairy farmers to make profit. And that's longevity, having daughter fertility high, cell count, mastitis resistance is going to be a trait that's going to come into the future, with the use of drugs being probably looked at further along the line. And so genetic wise, that's where we're kind of heading with that space in profitable cows. But what I'm more excited about is what probably our purpose going forward. We want to be creating a sustainable future for our dairy farmers, something that, you know, is probably 3 to 5 years away, but we want to have genetics that are solution based for those farmers along the lines of Bobby Calf market. That's going to be something in the future for farmers to keep an eye on. And we just touched on it just before, pole genetics with the dehorning. We want to have farmers that have a plan for their social license and their long-term sustainability. And they are going to get pressure on from their processors, from, farming is going to be a lot more domestic product going forward, and the end consumer, whether we like it or not, is going to be the city person, and they want to have a nice sustainable product going forward and a nice story to talk about. So that's kind of where ABS is heading. We want to be more than just a product. We want to have solutions for the farmers as well, and a great story to tell into the future. So I think I'm about to hand over to Alan Blum. So he's the next man up, and you'll hear from me in a couple of minutes' time.
No worries. Right. So yeah, Marcus has talked about the sustainability, and our focus is on genetic improvement. Our vision is sustainability, so making sure that our products are going to be there for the long term. And ABS wants to deliver genetics that are going to help meet our customers' needs and also the consumer needs for now and into the future. We can we think we need to continue to increase our production and profitability, and so producing more litres of milk and more kilograms of product with fewer animals, less water, less land, and less greenhouse emissions. And ABS is doing that with increased production through our genetics, with a particular focus on lifetime productivity and also fertility. So they're the traits, and mastitis resistance. So those economic traits we think are going to be more and more important. And already Dairy Australia has said we need to produce $200 more per cow per year by 2040. So we need to have those genetics in the pipeline now to meet those targets and needs of the industry moving forward. So Marcus, do you want to just touch on the winning game plan?
So obviously sustainability comes through. We've created a winning game plan moving forward, and it is based on our sex cell product, which is all ABS, and our In Focus product, which is a selected beef product, and it is made for dairy cows. It's not a estimated breeding value. It is an actually proven product that ABS in America has done. Same with Genus in England. It is not, and I need to stress, it's not an estimated breeding value. We actually have data to say that it is good semen fertility, it is calving ease, and it is short gestation. And if you're a seasonal calver, you don't want to muck around definitely with that gestation length, because the average of a beef bull is greater than the average of a Holstein cow. So when you want to shorten or keep that calving pattern short, you need something that's proven. And so we're getting great results with the In Focus. We also have a supply chain if a farmer wants to enter that, and that's up to the farmer if they want to use that supply chain. So we have a calf rearer, we have a background, and we also have a feedlot of Sam Burton Taylor up in New South Wales. So it is a proven product, it is a consistent product, and we know what we're going to get from that. And that joins in well with the sex semen. So as you can see, your top end goes to sex semen, you work out what you don't want to breed from, and you put your beef In Focus on that. We also have a colour marker in there with the British Blue. So if you're a crossbred herd and you want to get a colour marker in there that's proven or is consistent, we have that as well, and we're just launching that now. So there's quite a few farms in the Western Districts that are hoping not to have a bobby calf truck come onto their farm next year. So they're using sex semen, and they've entered our supply chain to get rid of all those calves next year. And we've got a young man, Matt Aikenhead, and we've got Annie Pumper are our supply chain managers, and they've done some research into what this extra income can be, and some of the numbers are like an extra milk check for the dairy farmer. So please, if you've got any questions, ask them at the end of this talk, and that's our winning game plan. Basically, it's going to get more and more, and yeah, we hope to get rid of the bobby calf market in a couple of years' time. And yeah, that's our winning game plan, everyone. Thanks, Wang.
Next slide, Dave. So what we're going to do now is just look at a handful of bulls, and just looking at bulls in the top Good Bulls Guide in the latest proof run. Of the top 10 bulls, ABS has got 5 of those bulls. And sitting at the top's Geronimo. He was a genomic sensation a few years ago, and now he's a proven bull. He's probably a really modern day bull with high daughter fertility. He's really good for mastitis resistant. His daughters are predominantly black. They're going to live a long time, and he's also polled. So he's a really dominating bull. The next bull is a bull called Wrigley. So yeah, it's sitting at number 2. Really good overall proof. We had quite a few thousands of doses of him a few weeks ago, and Hico pre-purchased some semen, but that the Hico semen's gone as well. So, but we're going to be a really popular bull, and quite a few people have used him. The Drake bull there again, just a really good total performance sire with good type and so forth. Then a bull like Seville, he's been used as a calving ease bull. He's 107 for farmer likability, and he's a bull that's -10 for gestation length. So he's a bull that can be used late in laid-in joinings and help bring that calving pattern forward. So without things like induction and that, they're the sort of things that farmers are going to need to keep it to increase their productivity into the future. And just topping off one of the bulls in the top 10 is a bull called Spock. He's a new graduate, leaves a lot of strength and body depth. So what a lot of farmers are desiring, he delivers it in spades. Next bull, Dave. Next slide, sorry. Just on the Jersey, so on the genomics, again, we've got 5 of the top 10 genomic bulls. The Woodside bull's just starting production, so I'll know more about him over the next coming weeks. We've got the Jamio bull's been very popular for his overall udders, 112 and great production. The Trip bull, again, really popular. He's a Cray son. He's really tall, long calves, and farmers love their calves. So he's popular. Wild is another bull there. And then the bull Skyward. So he's a locally bred bull in South Gippsland from a South Gippsland cow family. He's a Matt son that is pretty well across the board and delivers nice sorts of cows. Going to deliver nice sorts of cows as well. So he's just started production, and we hope to get more semen out of him in the coming months and weeks. Just moving on to the Reds, we have the Norwegian Red Program, and it's really exciting. The bull Onstad P's got a proof, one of the very first Norwegian bulls, and he sits right at the top of the proof charts. It's not just his production, his type, his fertility really excels, and we're really confident the Norwegian Reds are going to continue to provide top genetics for the Australian population. And we have British Friesians and Irish genetics as well. So there's a whole product range available as well. Next slide. So just for the virtual event, we've talked to Hico, and we have a range of bulls that are available in XL or the sex semen. And we've come up with the concept of for every 5 doses of sex product purchase, we'll provide a dose of the InFocus product free of charge. So Marcus touched on the new, the British Blue breed. So you can see some of the calves there of the new British Blue InFocus program. So again, we think InFocus is going to be a big part of the future through the improved environment and farming practices and also economics. Hand over to Marcus again just to finish up.
Well done, Plummy. There's a few technical issues there for us. Wasn't as smooth sailing as it was this afternoon, but that's all a learning curve for us all. So I'd like to thank everyone that's hopped on tonight and spent the hour with GA and ABS. I hope you get a bit of an insight into what ABS sees into the future for the dairy industry, and really appreciate Graham and his staff to bring something like this to the table. And it's easy. We don't have to leave the comfort of our homes and have our kids run around in the background and be told off by me when they're making too much noise. So thank you to Hico, and thanks, Plummy, for doing the talk with me. Is there any questions out there?
Yeah, so Marcus and Alan, thank you very much. And we do have another 5 minutes, so feel free if Jared, are there some questions or comments coming through? If not, I'll be able to fire off 1 or 2 questions. But let's just see if there's a couple of questions coming through, or similar questions to what we had for the GA team.
Sure. There are a couple of questions, and I'd encourage folks on the call to jump up to that little cartoon bubble at the top right-hand side of your screen and type away. One question that was posted earlier on, and I'll just field it to initially the ABS boys, but then the GA guys can obviously have a dip at it as well. Are farmers looking more at SGL with inductions being phased out? Marcus or Alan, what do you say?
SGL.
Yes.
What do I mean by SGL?
You're probably asking the wrong bloke there.
Short gestation length bulls.
Yeah.
There is a market for it. We do have a couple, and there are farmers, especially the seasonal calvers, looking. Thank you, Richard. Looking at shorter gestation length bulls to get up to a week to 10 days in some cases. So Tasmania is a market that looks into that a lot because they are generally a seasonal calving herd down there. And Yeah, no, they are, and it is a good thing to have, but yeah, it's not everywhere. Blimey.
Yeah, I'll just add to that, Mark. So I think it is a growing trend. We're
Yep.
seeing more and more people not use those short gestation bulls in the first couple of weeks of joining, and they'll only use those bulls at the end of joining. So you go back a few years ago and you wouldn't have seen that, whereas now there's farmers that are using that to help their calving patterns for sure.
Yeah.
I've just got a question to anybody who's there. I mean, given that we're looking at a relatively strong season, both weather-wise, but also price-wise, I think it's probably fair to say. Are you guys in the field seeing a different approach from customers in terms of not just what they're willing to spend, but are they looking to invest now with a longer-term view? Perhaps they're able to take a longer approach.
Yeah.
Come to Marcus and Alan to begin with, and again Anthony and Jared. I'll allow you to answer that in a moment.
Bummy, do you want to have a go at that first, or do you want me to?
I'm happy to. I like it when people think of genetics as an asset for the long-term advantage of the farm and the operation, and it's an investment as an asset rather than an expense. So yeah, you'd like to think that people are making those decisions, and I think we see that with the sex semen and Sexcel is people are investing in that to make sure they got the replacements into the future, and genomics has been a part of it as well. So they're going to cull the bottom end or export the bottom end. Again, for economic reasons, but they're going to milk better herds of cows.
I think Lummy did it for me. That's fine.
Jared, Anthony?
Yeah, I mean,
I guess. Oh, you go, Jared.
No, I just, and I think it's very evident in the beef world as well, right at the moment with the way the industry is. We've all seen, genetics sell extremely well in the beef bull sales and different things. Seed stock sales, and I think it's just Alan touched on it there from an industry dairy point of view, but we're seeing that I think right across breeding programs, whether they be beef or dairy producers.
Yeah. Jared, we've got time for a couple more questions if you've got any there.
There's another one there, which is that can the guys tell us the current market value of your beef option as a calf? We'll stick with GA this time. You first stab at that, and then come over to the ABS lads. Jared, Anthony.
Yeah, I'm probably not going to be able to answer that as well as who's the question from Jonathan. I mean, I think there's no doubt that that the calf on the ground, regardless of whether it's coming out of a dedicated program or not, has got significantly greater value right at the moment. More to do with the really strong beef prices that are out there. We don't have as Genetics Australia, we do not have a programmed approach where there is a dedicated buyer on the other side. So I might flip to Alan or Marcus if they want to make further comment on that. But hopefully that helps a little bit. So.
No, at this stage we've got James Whale, who is our calf buyer. He's paying around that $300 mark for a 7 to 10 day old calf, and they will pick them up. They will take bull heifers, but they're not going to be discriminating over those at all. So that's where we're at the moment. Obviously, the market is still heating up, so we will put farmers that use In Focus in touch with James Whale, and they can talk to James about that. So he'll take whether they're bulls or heifers. And he'll take them all in one go. So.
Okay, thank you, Marcus. We've got time for 2 more questions. So, Jared, there are a number coming in. I know some people are having trouble with questions, but we will collate those over the next 24 hours and try and get answers. So, Jared, back to you quickly.
Thank you. There was a question there, and we'll certainly try and get these questions. We do apologise for the technical issues. We'll try and get these ironed out. Obviously, we've got further sessions on Thursday and also next week planned at the moment. And if you go to our social media page, or if you receive this invitation for tonight via our MailChimp mail out, you'll get another invitation to the session on Thursday night with Viking Genetics and LIC. So if that's of interest to you, then come along to that as well. Question: is there still a future for proven bulls, and are they real plants behind him?
I'll take that one if I can.
Go for it.
The plants behind Marcus are definitely ornamental. I think that was that part of the question. But I guess as Jared mentioned in his in the GA piece earlier, I guess we consider these days all bulls to be proven. So whether they're daughter proven or genomically proven, I suspect the question was more sort of driven towards daughter proven, and we believe there is still a strong place for daughter proven bulls for farmers to select from, and the reason being for that is that farmers at times, they don't all want the same things, and some of them want to be able to identify a more consistent maybe breeding plan or breeding pattern, and subsequently they'll have a choice to use those daughter proven bulls as opposed to the genomically proven bulls. So that'd be my spin on it, but Marcus might want to comment on the plants.
The plant, I think, might be a plan, don't you think? At the end of the day. Do you want to have a go, Blimey, or you want me to go?
I'm happy for you to have a go.
All right. So, I'm with Joffa. There's still a very strong place for daughter-proven bulls. We see that in our sales, and Anthony talked a bit about that. And the plan from ABS is to keep looking and getting the LTEs and keep wanting to get that workability information in, and to get those daughters classified, and to get the production data in. So, it is important that we have a Hico in the business that can get that data and get it through to data gene. ABS is definitely on board with getting as many bulls proven into that space as we go forward. It's still on our radar, and still a strong thing for us to do. So.
Very good. We've got time for one last question. So, Jared, back to you.
I'm not sure I've got anything else in the chat. I don't think, although I do see somebody who's typing now. So we'll see what's happening. I mean, just to remind, the number is on the screen there: 1800 444 266. That's a generic number which will sort of randomly go to our sales team, predominantly based out of South Gippsland. So if you want to follow up with those guys over the next 24, 48 hours, that's the best number to go to. And similarly, that will be the number that we'll be using on Thursday as well with further sessions. Graham Smith, I might just ask you, do you want to talk a little bit about what's planned for next Tuesday? Just give people perhaps a quick moment to type in.
Yeah, just while the person's typing in, I'll quickly do two things, as we will be finishing within 5 minutes. Firstly, just a big thank you to both Genetics Australia and also ABS. This is a very competitive industry, and it should be, but I think what GA and ABS have done tonight is to be complimented. The way we initially set it up was that GA would come on for 30 minutes, and then in essence they would disappear and ABS would take over. But both companies were very comfortable with the other listening to the presentations, to their respective presentations. So I think that's a really good sign of maturity, and we need that in this industry, given future challenges and also opportunities, some of which have been talked about tonight. So just before I hand back to Jared, just a quick reinforcement that, as Jared has already said, we're going to run these sessions for the next 3 weeks. Same time, same place this coming Thursday. We're doing LIC and also Viking Genetics. Then next Tuesday, we are going to do something a little bit different. We're going to have Richard Shepherd, who many of you know, and also a dairy farmer who's just finishing her PhD, Beth Scott. She's just finishing a PhD in genetics. They're going to spend an hour answering a couple of questions that are in the process of posing to Hico, but also being able to take questions from you and hopefully more farmers. Because if you've enjoyed tonight, spread the word. As said, this is something a bit different, certainly for Hico, and I think it's gone very well tonight, and we're looking to build on that. So that's the plan over the next 3 weeks, and we will be both via email, social media, and other communication means. We'll be highlighting that over the next week or so. So without further ado, back to Jared for the last question and then a wrap up.
Thanks, Graham. Final question: is there a place for using data collected from inline shed systems, as of course Hico we use herd testing data? Who wants to have a crack at that? Alan Blum has got a big smile on his face, like he's.
That's for him, then.
Are we being recorded?
He's either a Melbourne or a doggy supporter.
We're still being recorded.
That's fine. No, I really believe all inline data, all on-farm data should be dragged into the system and put in for its reliability. So, depending what reliability it gives the industry and organisations like Hico just a tremendous opportunity to work with that data and maybe verify the data and test the cows for fat and protein to see how that's going as well. So everyday milk going in and get a system where we bring the whole lot in. Inseminations, the whole lot, add more reliability to all our information.
And Anthony or Jared, any thoughts quickly?
Oh yeah, I'm supportive with Alan. I think the more data that we can have into the system to make decisions on associated with the level of the reliability that is associated with it, I think is a good thing. I guess the younger generation are looking for more of these dairy milking systems that does have it all at their fingertips, and it seems to be a bit of a shame that we aren't able to utilise some of that data like we would. But like it needs to be, as Alan said, it needs to be the level of reliability coming in with that information needs to also line up.
Absolutely, couldn't agree with you more, Jared. So look, that brings to a close our first virtual bull night. I hope you've all learnt something and got something out of it. As said previously, a big thank you to all the presenters because these things don't happen at the drop of a hat. They always take a lot of work, and in the case of tonight, people are giving up their own time. So thank you again. As already said, we will be communicating some additional things over the next couple of days, and let your friends and colleagues know because, as I said, same time, same place next Thursday, or this coming Thursday, I should say, is another session. So thank you again, and good night. And I would ask the Hico team just to stay online for a couple of minutes. So look forward to seeing you all shortly. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brian.
Yep.